We've become dependent on artificial intelligence to manage everything. From our money to our calendars.
Hey Google, remind me to book a dentist appointment for Friday.
AI is everywhere, and it knows more than we can possibly imagine. It can speak our language. It knows where in the world you are and how to get you home.
As a technology journalist, I've been following the advances in the digital world for more than a decade. But the speed at which AI is progressing means it's getting hard to keep up.
In fact, AI is evolving so rapidly that it has been predicted to overtake human intelligence in less than a decade. But will it really be better than us at everything?
What about the arts? Is artistic creativity uniquely human? Because right now, machine minds are creating images and stories that have never been seen or read before. To find out how we got here, I'm going to meet one of the researchers responsible for the creation of language models.
But I don't know if they're new ideas or if it's just something it's found on the internet that it's spitting back at me.
Definitely not just doing that. This is a common misunderstanding.
The coders breaking down the barrier between artist and robot. And the creatives who have embraced AI.
Did you make it on your phone?
Yeah.
Sweet. Hello, greetings, welcome.
And to see if AI can be artistically creative, I've designed an experiment. I've set up a special exhibition to see if the public can spot the difference between images created by AI and humans. But if they can't, what does that mean for us? Before we get stuck into AI, I want to define what art actually is and why do humans create it? To understand that, we need to step back in time.
Warming Dark Nero up I'm about a year in, Ningamayana Naimule, Narjo Bayala Gurgle Gurgle. Go Bangali Bonogo Nurugo Yurugo, did you recall? Welcome. This is Derek Vance. These are the lands and the waterways of my people. I ask that as we walk softly, and as the winds blow, listen to the stories of our old people.
My guides, Leanne and Erin, belong to the Burra people of the Darug Nation, and they have a relationship with art that dates back thousands of years.
Oh, wow.
So what does art mean for the oldest continuous culture in the world?
There's such a presence when you come in under the rock and start to see the things that are on the walls. Can you tell me a bit about what I'm seeing?
What you're seeing is memory. It's mapping. It's what's around us. It's the transfer of knowledge and stories.
Every time we come here, we discuss what the art here means. I don't think each piece has to actually mean one thing. We've got some boomerangs here, the waterways. You've got the white hand stencils, which would be the women.
So, Leanne, you're an artist yourself. From your perspective, what is art?
Art is an expression of me, and it's an expression of my country and culture. It's helped me to learn a lot about my culture, and it's helped me to connect to a lot of places.
Ancient art is about passing knowledge, it's about teaching, it's about ceremony. And I think what we have as our perception or our interpretation of art is always going to be different to the next person or the person that created it. Knowing that we're here thousands of years after somebody was here signing their name, essentially, with their handprint, it is amazing.
I love that. It's true, you have people, you have the mark that people leave.
Our ancestors are talking, are communicating to us. So we just got to listen. And that's their communication.
Aboriginal culture and art have been intertwined for millennia, conveying messages that transcend generations and reflect human identity.
But are those same values of communication and expression the same all around the world? Is there a universal definition of art throughout history? Take the ancient Egyptians and the Mayans. Native America has totem poles. Mexico has calaveras, or sugar skulls. Japan has origami. No matter where in the world you go, art takes on unlimited forms. It can be demonstrated through sculpture, oils, watercolor, even crochet, or claymation. And then there are styles and movements that reflect changes in society throughout the ages, such as the Renaissance or modernism. And in the 21st century, some artists wield digital brushes. No paint, no canvas, only code. And you would think that that brings us up to date.
Well, think again. Generative AI is disrupting the world of creativity. But can it create art? Can it be used to communicate and express, just like humans do? Before I can answer that, I'm going to need to get my head around what AI actually is.
So I'm going to jump in an elevator with an expert to see if they can explain it to me as simply as possible in the time it takes to go up to the top of that building and back down.
This elevator pitch should help me cram the basics of a complex topic in a few minutes. After all, time is precious, so let's not keep this AI expert waiting.
What's going on? He's not there.
Hi there.
Oh no!
I'm Ravatar, your AI doppelganger. I'm here to answer all your burning questions in a rad and snappy way. Let's get started.
This was not what I was told we were doing. Why are you British?
I'm your AI avatar. My appearance is based on training data of your image, but I've chosen a British accent for a touch of international flair. Everything I say is chosen by a complex algorithm which enables me to understand natural language and generate human-like responses. Ready to dive into AI questions?
Okay, well, you obviously have a lot to say about AI, so let's get into it. But you've only got the time it takes to go up and down this elevator. There's no special treatment for AI. Are you ready?
Challenge accepted. Enjoy the ride.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to learning from a creepy version of me. All right, what is AI?
AI, or artificial intelligence, is all about machines learning to perform tasks, think, and solve problems like humans. It's both fascinating and useful.
You are fascinating, but useful how?
AI is a versatile powerhouse, rocking tasks from self-driving cars to personalized playlists, and even lending a hand in healthcare. It's our ultimate multifaceted helper, making life more fun and convenient. Radtastic.
Radtastic. This is really weird.
I know, right? The idea of machines being able to learn and reason on their own is pretty mind-blowing.
Okay, we're halfway through, but I still have more questions for you, or for me. So how does a machine like yourself learn?
In traditional programming, human-written code rigidly dictates a program's actions. But machine learning programs adapt and evolve through exposure to large amounts of data. They might falter initially, but over time, they become highly skilled at performing tasks beyond the scope of their original instructions, making them truly dynamic.
So how do you know all of this? Is it because it's your lived experience?
As an AI language model, I was trained on a massive data set of text from the internet. So I have access to a lot of information about a wide range of topics, including AI and machine learning.
You said that you're a language model, but what exactly is that?
Actually, you might want to hear from someone who has more expertise in this field. Please alight here.
That's very ominous.
Well, that was weird, but it's given me a good grasp on the AI basics. However, I'm left with more questions about language models. Thankfully, I've been spat out in Cowan, or Redcliffe, just a hop away from Brisbane.
And to untangle this mystery, I'm gonna need to talk to some real-life human beings.
Luckily for me, some of the key players in the world live right here in Australia. Alan Thompson is an expert in human and AI intelligence, and Jeremy Howard is the innovator behind fine-tuned language models, a technology that has gripped the world in the form of ChatGPT.
You would not believe where I just came from and what just happened to me. I was in an elevator and there was an avatar of myself. I was talking to myself on a screen, but AI style.
That sounds pretty horrendous.
It's actually really creepy. It was very uncomfortable. I didn't like her as much as I like myself.
Isn't that kind of your fault, Ellen?
Actually, I was the one that suggested to do this. This is a really good way of interacting
It's your fault.
with post-2020 AI. A lot of fun to have a conversation with.
I didn't find it fun. I found it uncomfortable. Well, okay, no, it was a little bit fun. So do you, make AI avatars?
Yeah, I've combined human-like avatars with the latest large language models because the conversations I were having with these AI models were more intelligent, more conversational, and at a higher level than I could have with anyone. It was a really extraordinary discovery. These avatars are actually
Conversing face-to-face with AI was pretty awesome. But there's that phrase, language model, again.
Okay, this word language model has been thrown around a bit. I want to understand it better. What is a language model?
Jeremy can tell us everything because he was one of the guys that came up with this technology.
So what I'm hearing is that you're to blame for all of this.
I'm one piece of it, right? I'm one little piece of it. Lots of people to blame.
So explain a language model to me.
It's actually a very simple thing. A language model is a mathematical function that has one very specific task, which is to predict the next word of a sentence. The idea I came up with was I literally downloaded Wikipedia and I trained a model to predict the next word of every sentence. And I figured if it was going to get good at this, it would have to know an awful lot about the world. Not just about language, but about common sense, about the nature of time, about the nature of animals and people, and how they all relate to each other, and that water makes things wet. And take that example, right? There might be a sentence somewhere in Wikipedia that says, in this famous movie scene, this actress got covered in water, so she was very, what?
Cold.
Okay, cold maybe, wet maybe, but these are ideas that are common sense to you, but when you were born, you didn't know that, right? You figured that out through reading, through experience. Now, a language model can read everything, and in fact, the more recent language models built way beyond my idea. They didn't just read all of Wikipedia, they've actually read a very large chunk of the entire internet. And that turned into this thing called ChatGPT, which you might have played with.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
You can literally type in a question, have a conversation, and it gives you an answer, but all it's doing behind the scenes is it's using this fine-tuned universal language model.
Okay, well, what is the potential of AI? How far does it go?
I don't know. I think about it all the time. No one knows what's going on and no one knows what's going to happen, but everybody I've spoken to agrees. Society's never going to be the same again.
And it might come with a downside. What if language models were trained on misinformation? What kind of answers would I get then? But my mission is to test how human AI can be, and to determine if it can be artistically creative. If there's anyone that might know the answer, it's these guys.
These things are just so smart, unexpectedly smart. But they're smart enough to be able to use their brains or their minds to come up with a response that hasn't existed before.
Okay, so we are saying that artificial intelligence is creative.
Absolutely.
If you've tried it, I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Yeah,
it
but
does come up with new ideas.
But I don't know if they're new ideas or if it's just something it's found on the internet that it's spitting back at me
Yeah,
more
no,
effectively than a search engine.
It's definitely not just doing that. This is a common misunderstanding. There's actually a mathematical proof called the universal approximation theorem that proves that this kind of computation can solve any given problem. Coming up with new ideas is well within the remit of its capabilities. And personally, I use it every day. It very often comes up with ideas in my field that I would totally know if somebody had come up with them before.
Why don't we jump in and just give it a go?
Can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
ChatGPT rap.
Fantastic.
All right, I'm down.
Wow, that was easy.
The most widely used language model at the moment is called ChatGPT, and using it is as simple as logging onto the website,
Let's ask it to write the rap song.
typing a question or prompt, and waiting for a response.
Let's give it an AI focus.
All right, let's see how this goes. I rep my hometown, with pride I stand tall. My roots run deep and my culture's my core. This local pride in my heart I'll defend. Authenticity's key till the very end.
Yeah! What you got for that, AI? Come on, man.
All right.
This was your idea.
You got nothing?
GPT seems pretty decent at writing lyrics, I'll give it that. But how far can I push it? How do I get the most out of a language model?
There's a concept called prompt crafting or prompt engineering, where the sentence that you give it will give a different result than if you use different words in that prompt. The way that you craft your prompt, the way that you tell the language model what to do, will dictate what comes out at the end.
So prompt crafting is all about refining the question to be clear and specific, guiding the AI to generate the perfect response. It seems to be the key to unlocking the full potential of language models. The innovation of language models will has revolutionized the world we live in, but I want to put its creativity to the test. Phase 1, comedy. Can language models do something that seems fundamentally human? Can they be funny? Now, I'm no comedian, but if anyone can judge ChatGPT's sense of humor, it's Triple J radio host and stand-up comedy hero, Michael Hing.
You're with Hobber and Hing on Triple J. Hobber's away today, and instead I'm joined by an old friend of mine in here to talk about AI and ChatGPT. Rad Yo's here. G'day, Rad. How's it going?
Hey, mate, you know what? You're making it sound like I'm joining you out of fun, but in actuality, I needed your help, and you were like, I'm too busy. The only place that I have time for you is within my work day.
Yeah, if you want to see me, you need to make an appointment.
So basically, I am trying to see how funny AI can be.
So I guess what you're exploring is like, will a robot come for my job?
Yes. Yes,
How dare
precisely.
you? On my own radio show, you come here and disrespect me like this, Rad.
Well, we'll find out just how close it is to coming for your job. So let's dive right in with something simple, right? Let's just ask it to tell me a joke.
Give it a topic as well. Like, what are you interested in?
Focusing on shoulders and
Shoulders.
ham.
Shoulders and ham. No, it's got to...
I've hit enter.
Well, look, to be honest, I think if this fails, a lot of that's in the prompt writing, to be honest. What's it come back with?
All right. Why don't shoulders ever go to parties? Because they're always carrying too much tension. That's not
I get that. Why would shoulder tension prevent you from going to a party?
You know what's even funnier? When the ham tried to give a shoulder massage. Let's just say it was quite a crackling experience, but in the end, the shoulder just felt too pork tense.
To what?
Pork-tense.
I don't think I understand what it's meant to... What's that meant to be?
I have no idea.
It's really bad.
When you said okay, so one-liners aren't hitting the mark. I'm gonna have to improve my prompt craft. So what does a human comedian think it takes to write funny jokes? Break down for me, what is comedy? How do you be funny? That's a big question, but how?
Look, I mean, a lot of people on the text line would disagree that I am funny, but I guess for me, comedy is like a lot of different things. For me, it's mostly like stories and observations.
So we're gonna go with write me a funny story about...
I mean, there's obviously no right and wrong answers to this, but like a lot of the time what the audience is doing is relating to you as a person. So I guess you need to insert some like personal details about who you are or who the audience thinks you are.
All right, so I'm going to give it a little bit of detail about me.
Why don't we see what it says now if you write all that stuff into it?
In telling it who I was, I said that I've worked in the video game space, and it's begun with, so, I was thinking the other day, a classic stand-up thing to say.
Sure.
Video games have prepared me for a lot of things, but not one single time has a video game prepared me for the perils of adult life, like dealing with the horror that is customer service. I mean, come on. There should be a game called Hold the Line, the ultimate customer service saga.
I mean, so far, I don't mind this.
You don't mind it?
Well, I mean, I think you got to remember, this isn't a person with a soul. So it's doing pretty well, I think.
True. All right. Now, speaking of customer service, let me tell you a tale.
Oh, there wasn't more to the game? I wanted to hear more about this game.
Well, you make a good point. It kind of moves on too quickly.
Yeah, I wanted to be like, hey, this is what you do in the game, I want to know more about it.
Well, the good thing is with these tools that you can kind of go back and say,
hey, tell me more.
Yeah, tell me more about that one, flesh it out, tell me the mechanics of that game.
I feel like we can sit here and like theorize about whether or not something's actually funny, but really the only way to find out if something works as comedy is to actually do it in front of an audience. So I reckon in the name of science, Rad, you should hold a little experiment where you go to an actual comedy club.
I don't like where this is going.
In front of a real live audience, right? And then you read out, I guess, a routine or like a joke or whatever written by ChatGPT and see how the audience reacts.
That's awful. What a stitch up. Well, look, I've never done stand-up comedy before, but challenge accepted, mate. I reckon I could do it. I'm coming for your career.
Good luck. Just trying to be nice. Anyway, if you want to go and watch Rat Bomb, feel free to get in touch with her on social media. You're at Triple J with Hopper and Hing.
Hing really laid down the gauntlet. But I've had time to refine my prompt craft, and I finally have a fully AI scripted routine. So it's time to put my reputation on the line, all in the name of science. Let's hope I'm funny. I could be funny. And it's not just me. GPT's ability to make an audience laugh is also on the line.
You guys are in for a great night tonight. This is a lineup of some of the best comedians this city has to offer. You guys keen? Yes, I'm feeling the vibe. It's full, we're loose, we're getting frisky.
Together, we're going up against some talented comedians.
Watching Neighbours, I watched every episode of Neighbours, right? You're not meant to do that.
Now, I've got a lot in common with my dad, actually. My dad and I were very similar. For example, we are both estranged from our dads. So...
My first job was at Target in women's apparel. I was the mannequin. No, it did get awkward when they'd forget to dress me.
Even Hing is here to upstage us.
Hey everyone, thank you for coming to the comedy show. I don't know if you've walked out of a sex shop recently, but how quickly do you try and rejoin street traffic when you sort of walk out and you're like, oh, I was never in there.
It's going to be a hard act to follow.
Anyway, that's my time. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Have a good night.
The humans have been getting a lot of laughs, and I'm starting to get nervous.
So you've written it. Well, the machine's written it,
Yes.
and now you're just trying to memorize it.
Yes, so complicated.
Yeah. I think you're gonna be great.
Thanks.
You know?
Do you think I'm funny?
I think you're funny. My concern is that the computer may not be funny.
We'll see. We'll see. I think I can do this.
Yeah.
All right, done. Now let me memorize. If I haven't learned this routine by now, then we have no hope. It's showtime. Will ChatGPT and I make a dream comedy duo, or will we crash and burn?
All right, your next act is making their Comedy Store debut. How good? Please give it up for Rad!
Hello, my name is Angharad. Yo, you can call me Rad, because texting Angharad always autocorrects to Angry Radish. I recently got a weighted blanket. Does anyone partake? It's like someone took one look at a blanket and thought, you know what this bad boy needs?
More gravity.
I am dying on my feet out here.
Sound like a Tinder bio, but I am also a musician. I'm not going to be headlining a concert anytime soon, but that's fine because in my opinion, it's not about how well you play, it's about how good you look holding the instrument. And by that metric, I am basically a rock star.
Okay, I think it's time to fess up, because there is no way I am taking responsibility for that travesty.
That was actually a routine written by ChatGPT. So sorry. Yeah, well, come on. I had to work with what I had. All right. Thanks, everyone.
There we go. Give it up for Rad, everybody.
My set has been entirely written by AI tonight as well. How did you feel?
I remembered it all.
Yes, that's
so
good.
I'm happy about that, but it was a bit rough out there.
I think you did about as well as you could do, given the material you were doing. At one point, say, gravity. I think that was real low. I've really felt for you out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's also good to know my job's safe.
Yeah, it is.
Time.
Okay, so AI may have lost the comedy round, but maybe we can put that down to bad prompt craft? After all, I've learned from the experts that language models can be powerful tools, when they're in the right hands, that is. But art is so much more than just creative language, and if we really want to shake up this AI test, then we're going to have to get visual. After all, a picture paints 1,000 words. Leaving language models behind, I want to explore an entirely different kind of generative AI. You might have heard of dall-e or Midjourney. They're a bit like ChatGPT, but instead of generating a written response, these text-to-image generators do just that. They create pictures. I want to know if AI-generated images can hold a candle to real art. So, I'm asking members of the public to put it to the test. Step 1, have an idea.
A basketball player dunking on the moon, graffiti style.
Step 2, let the machine do the making.
Have you made it already? Wow. Woo! That's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah.
And step 3, give it as many goes as you like.
I would like to see a crochet dinosaur in a thunderstorm. A sketch of a person sitting outside a hut making a meal.
A picture that I have in my head, I can tell you. So me, I imagine a kangaroo on the beach.
Oh, wow. This is so cool. It looks really good. It is exactly what I said it was. Oh no, it's beautiful. Have you seen it?
Oh my, that's great. That's magic. Yeah, really. But I don't know how the process with it works, but I want to know.
Before a system like this can create, it needs to be trained on hundreds of millions of existing pictures.
The first step is for a human to label images for qualities like colour, shape, names and actions. Anything, really. The AI learns these qualities and categorises each image in its storage system called the latent space. This can be thought of as a huge library, where all the images that represent roundness are sorted in one section, all the images that represent yellowness in another section, and so on. By grouping similar qualities closer together and different ones further apart, the AI can understand relationships between features.
But that's just how the machine learns. What about how it produces an image?
I don't exactly know the process of how it gets from that data set to how it produces these results from a prompt.
If you thought that the AI is simply copying pixels from the training data, you would be wrong.
To create new images, the machine draws upon its learned relationships between image qualities. With the machine's understanding of what basketball player means, clustered in one region, the moon in another, graffiti somewhere else, the text prompt, a basketball player, slam dunking on the moon, graffiti style, would guide it to a location in the empty space between those clusters. This can be seen as a blueprint for a new image, an intersection of how those different qualities might interact.
This mixture of features might never have been seen together in the original training data. It's an entirely new creation. Some critics still argue that these images are unoriginal, even plagiarism, as they are developed from elements of existing examples. So, can it really be art?
I think there's a difference between a computer and art, like a human's touch. There's a lot of things that I think AI can't generate that a human can. Wow. No, I would definitely consider this art. I guess it depends on the human that's inputting what they want to see and what their intention is with it. It looks like a picture I could have taken myself, so it's just a picture. It's not really special, it's not art for me.
Art needs an artist, like there's supposed to be some sort of message or purpose. And I think when it's a machine that does the art, it's just an image. There's nothing behind the image.
Can I take this with me now? Is it mine? Yes.
Text-to-image generators are certainly fun, but even with great prompt craft, they're still entry-level tools. To create art worthy of recognition might require a more sophisticated system, one where human and machine minds work together.
So we've done that.
I've come to NAM, Melbourne, to meet Archibald Prize winner Sam
These are
Leach.
just regular ones, and that should be pretty fast.
Look, Mum, I'm coding. I clicked enter.
He may be a human artist, but Sam now uses AI as a tool to help him generate new ideas.
Okay, so this is my GAN notebook.
What does GAN mean?
GAN is a generative adversarial network. It's
I regret asking that.
next set of instructions.
It sounds technical, but a GAN is an ingeniously simple way for an AI model to teach itself.
Picture a GAN as a contest between two minds, an artist and a critic. The artist or generator tries to paint pictures that mirror the training data. The critic or discriminator reviews and scores each creation. They play this game over and over. Every critique improves the artist, and every painting sharpens the critic's judgment.
The two sides of the GAN drive each other to improve with every turn. And there's no limit to how powerful and effective they can become.
So we've asked the discriminator and the generator to interact 1,000 times, and each time this set of images come up, we can see the image gradually improving.
It's like each time we see the images, we've eavesdropped in on the conversation for a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Sam has trained this GAN on his own previous artwork. And as it develops, abstract forms and shapes start to emerge.
See, that's a creepy lamb.
A creepy lamb?
Can you see it? Its eyes and then its mouth is open. Like
yeah, a little bit of blood stain around the mouth there.
Yeah.
I saw that as a very charming tea party with two women with their hair in buns.
I do see that now that you've said it. Your own stuff you found on the internet.
These pixelated shapes are just the first step in the process.
Yeah.
Sam's unique approach is to draw inspiration from them to develop his own paintings.
Themes that I've always been interested in. There's kind of content and meaning in there that's important to me. But this is a way of extracting some of that meaning in an unexpected way and recombining it. And that's where I get something new that I can develop into a painting.
This feels a world away from what ends up on the walls, and I can't wait to see how it translates. Can you show me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sam is already working on his next painting, built upon an image that his last GAN generated. From the seemingly random forms, Sam refines the shapes into detailed, fine art.
So you've got your AI image and then the painting?
Yeah, so this is the image the GAN has produced. Because there's not a great deal of detail in the actual image, I mean, I'll really just keep it very loose to begin with to get the rough spots where there's colour, and finding there's a little patch of red in there. So just as a marker for myself to just put that little red patch in, and then we'll see.
Just going for it.
Yeah, but that's the nice thing about working with these images. Because this is so loose, there's a lot more freedom for me to just experiment.
Why take the risk now of changing your art practice and including AI?
Well, to me, it's an exciting new possibility for painting. And when AI began to emerge as a possibility a few years ago, I was immediately intrigued. I guess it did feel like a bit scary handing over the creative process to an algorithm. But at the same time, you know, you have to take risks, and it felt good. It felt good to do it.
I think most people do think of your text-to-image generators when they think of AI art, and it's really pushing and, you know, changing how people are going to see these as tools and not just as image generators.
It's a wide world of AI out there, so it's really nice to be able to explore all the different aspects of it.
Seeing how Sam works with AI has made me realize there could be other ways it might unlock our creativity.
I have a personal theory that what we're going to learn from AI is that maybe human consciousness and creativity is only an illusion, and what we're doing is just similar to what the machine is. It's not something where we're going to finally have the AI become conscious. We're going to realize we were never conscious to begin with.
Oh my gosh, that's such a terrifying outcome.
Human and machine make a formidable team. Sam's AI-assisted work has even been shortlisted for the Win Prize, Australia's most prestigious landscape competition. So the art world deems AI worthy of their walls, at least as a collaborator with humans. But what about as a competitor? It's time for the final part of my experiment. Has generative AI got to a point where the images it produces can match those imagined and made by people?
Surrounding me is a collection of artworks, some made by humans, some made by AI. Can you tell the difference? Very soon, I will be joined by 100 members of the public in our very own gallery so that they can vote on which images they think were made by AI.
To create the artworks for this exhibition, I set up 2 competitions, one for photography and one for painting. My first job was to find the artists. Behold, Frida, artificial intelligence incarnate.
It's kind of just going for the next 2 hours, I think. 600 brushstrokes.
Robotics experts Peter Showdown, Jim McCann, and Jean O have traveled across the globe from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, USA, to take on my challenge and show me what AI can do with a paintbrush.
FRIDA stands for a framework and robotics initiative for developing arts.
FRIDA is a painting system. It plans brushstrokes. It outputs those brushstrokes using a robotic arm by actually moving a brush through real space using real pigments on a real canvas.
First thing it's going to want to do is figure out what it can do with the brush. It needs to understand if it makes a mark with that brush, this is what the appearance of that stroke is going to look like.
Frida is so much more than a fancy paintbrush. It has an AI brain, making decisions on what to paint, how to paint it, and, remarkably, how to modify its approach as the painting evolves.
Paint's really hard to work with. It's very unpredictable. So FRIDA will start to do a few of those brushstrokes and then take a picture, so it can adapt to those changes. It's very much what a human artist would do.
But is Frida capable of taking on real artists in my painting challenge? Ellie West, Brendan Kelly, and Dee Jackson are artists with different expressionistic styles. I'm challenging each of them and Frida to paint my portrait, and the resulting pieces will be used in my experiment.
Do you mind if I have a little look at you first? So I'm just looking at the shadows.
It's very hard to keep a straight face.
That's all right.
The humans are off to a flying start. Frida, on the other hand, well, it seems to be biding its time.
If we can make it over into a new color when it discretizes them.
I think if it makes it through to the final image, we're going to be in good shape here.
It's a good thing I'm comfy, because I could be here a while.
What's going on over there? I have noticed that Frida has not done a single stroke. We've been going for like 20 minutes.
Well, it's been optimizing. So about now, it's figured out the right strokes to do. Now it just has to execute.
It was playing the mental game first.
Exactly, it's prepared.
Finally! It may be late out of the gates.
Look, it's working.
But Frida's done with planning and is getting paint on the canvas.
Well,
painting.
Yeah.
Now we have a competition.
Do you guys feel threatened by the robot?
No.
No?
No.
I'm fascinated.
Why do you find it fascinating?
Because it looks really organic. The brushstrokes look...
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it, how you see a brushstroke and immediately your mind is like, well, a human must have done that.
Well, I'm not threatened by it because, no, I think it's far too slow. At this rate, I'll be dead by the time it comes up with a few outcomes. Sorry to be knocking the machine, but it's the enemy.
Well, you just wait till it gets a second arm,
yeah.
and then it's all over.
Then it'll get tangled up and
Yeah.
they'll be arguing with each
Be
other.
able to knit.
Serious fighting talk. But faster isn't always better. And none of us know what Frida is capable of.
How are the human artists going? You all look like you might be done.
I feel like I'm done.
How do you think you went?
Good. Oh, well done.
And how is Frida doing?
We're still working at it. Looks like 30% of the way to its current batch of strokes. So it'll take a while.
Well, that's fair enough. It can thankfully paint all through the night because it doesn't have to go to sleep.
Yeah, it could paint until its paints dry out.
So, with 3 portraits in the bag and 1 to come, we're almost ready to open the doors to the public. But 4 artworks don't make an exhibition, and painting is only one expression of artistic creativity. So I want to see how AI stacks up in another medium, say, photography. It's 5 a.m. at the Mayuna wetlands just outside of Melbourne, and the photography challenge is about to begin. The first competitor is Doug Gimmishy, a conservation and wildlife photographer. He'll be up against an AI algorithm prompted by computer whiz Jamie Van Leeuwen, who creates award-winning images. Their task is to capture or create an extraordinary image of a fruit bat. The sun came up super quickly, and even though they're still chatty, the bats are turning in for a sleep, so let's go see how the boys did. With only a brief window to photograph the bats returning to roost, Doug knows just how hard it can be to capture the perfect moment.
Hey, Doug. So, how do you think you went?
Not well.
No?
I think, nothing that I'm proud of, but there are a couple that are okay.
See, I think that's cute.
Well, I think it's engaging. You can see his or her eyes. I'm not sure it has the wow factor. I mean, I can shoot 5,000 photos for one that I like, maybe 10,000, and when you get it, you'll know.
10,000 photos. That's got to take a lot of hours to get the one shot that you're like, wow, that has what I wanted.
Yeah, wildlife moves. It does what it wants. The weather does what it wants. And you hopefully are in the right place at the right time when it does what happens. And normally you're not.
That is such dedication to the craft. How do you feel about AI art, which, is entirely manufactured? You're telling it exactly what you want to see.
Well, I'm glad you said AI art rather than AI photography, because I don't believe there is such a thing as AI photography. Look, there's some beautiful art, but maybe I've been fooled by a photo and I didn't know it was AI, so that would be impressive.
If we put one of your pictures against an AI photo, do you think people would be able to tell the difference?
I think if they stopped and looked at them, yes, they would. Well, I would hope they would anyway.
Well, the conditions were really tough today, and I know it does take a lot of time to get that perfect shot. So luckily this isn't a timed challenge, but when I see you at the gallery, I want to see your best flying fox picture, please.
Absolutely, I'll have one that I've taken here for you.
It seems that wildlife photography takes some serious resolve. But if so much goes into capturing the perfect moment, I wonder how Jamie thinks he can achieve that without even leaving the car.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Got your
thank
tea.
you. It's a lot warmer in here than it is out there.
It's nice, isn't it?
Okay, so how did you go?
All done.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think you've gotten the one?
Yeah.
Did you make it on your phone?
Yeah.
That's weird.
So it took me maybe 5 minutes.
Really?
5-6 minutes.
I did notice that you got to sit in a warm car while you made your flying fox pictures and Doug was out there in the rain and cold.
I appreciate the invite, but I probably didn't need to be dragged out of bed at 4 a.m. this morning. I could have done this from my
If I had to do it, you had to do it. All right, well, I didn't get to see a final picture from Doug, so I don't want to be unfair. I don't want to spoil the surprise. But can I see some of your other AI pieces of artwork?
Yeah, sure. So this is an image of a woman that I've created.
So she does not exist.
She doesn't exist, completely AI. But you look in and the details that you can see, it looks spot on, but it's not real.
Wow, that really looks realistic. It's incredibly detailed, the amount of wrinkles.
Now we've got a bear.
There's a part of me that wants to start zooming in and pixel peeping. And from you just writing bear running towards camera in water.
There was a bit more to it with this one. You can choose the camera that you use that's taken this.
Really?
Yeah. Depth of field, you can choose the kind of lighting.
So you could tell it like shutter speed.
Exactly right, yeah.
Oh.
It's as specific as you'd like to make it.
Once again, prompt crafting is the key to getting the best results from generative AI.
So this image right here became the first AI-generated image that won a photography contest. And I did it to prove that we're at a bit of a turning point with AI, that it does look realistic enough now to fool not just the regular people, but, you know, experts in their field, judges. And it's time we had a conversation about what AI imagery is and kind of where it fits. I think misinformation is going to be huge and probably the biggest downside to this technology, because we all know that some people are going to misuse it and won't come clean when they create something that is AI image generated, but they pass it off as real, as legitimate.
Obviously, you're very skilled, but how do you think you're going to stack up to Doug? Because Doug's very good.
I'm quite confident, not overly confident, but I'm quite confident of getting this one done.
I can't wait to see how they stack up. All right, we're getting there. So we've got our human artists, we've got our machine artists, we almost have our artwork. So I guess there is only one thing left for me to do, and that is get AI to pick out my outfit for the big event. What should I wear?
What machine minds can conjure up is extraordinary. But is it as extraordinary as what humans are capable of?
Can Frida's portrait and Jamie's AI-generated photo fool the public? Let's open the doors and find out. Hello, greetings, welcome. Thank you everyone for coming and welcome to our gallery. Now, everywhere in this space we have artworks, some made by humans and some made by AI. Your job is to try and determine which of the artworks in each category was made by AI. When you think you know, just drop your token in the corresponding box and good luck.
Pretty awesome, kind of scary. I think that art is probably one of the last remaining things that humans have as their uniqueness, and as computers start to get a little bit smarter, we're kind of in trouble.
We have a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be a big reveal of everything's AI.
I think we just don't know enough about AI, which probably is the point of tonight.
This is the first time I've seen the images. I thought I was gonna find this a lot easier, but I just can't pick it.
I keep on flip-flopping.
It's tough. I'm just glad it's competitive. I'm glad it's not all one-sided.
I mean, for me as a photographer, probably the biggest compliment will be they think mine's AI.
Yeah?
Because it can't be real. I'll take an AI vote as viewing it as, wow, that couldn't have really been captured in nature.
Yeah. I have changed my thought, honestly, so many times by this point. Yeah. Yeah.
At least I'm not the only one who's struggling.
I think we just turn around until we find one.
So for the bats, I went for the one that was gliding across the water. The water looked a little bit pixelated, and I know in high noise situations it's kind of a bit weird for AI to generate.
The facial structure of that bat looks more symmetrical than...
So you think this is real? So which is the real one?
I think that's more AI. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know, it must be the lighting or something, but the bat is so me, my background, that's like, I don't know. No. It's because even like the wings, I feel like are like, you know, I'm sorry. No!
And it's not just the fruit bats that are dividing the room.
So the one I voted for was the small, colourful one. Yeah, that one was the one that wasn't like the others.
I did the textured painting, which was a big swing, but I have a feeling that the textured painting might be the one AI.
So we chose the watercolour artwork. We felt that it was a little too perfect.
It almost seems too close to call, but all the votes have been cast and it's time for the moment of truth. If the public can't tell the difference, then AI will have well and truly entered the art arena. First up, let's take a look at those flying fox images.
Thank you everyone for voting. The results are in, and this was a really interesting and difficult one because 61% of people thought that the human artwork was made by AI. Now, I don't even know the answer, but we're gonna reveal it to you right now.
So more than half of the public thought the AI image was the real photograph.
Well done, both of you. That was really, really tricky, and they're both beautiful images.
Got the win. A win for AI, which I guess is a weird thing to win, but yeah, I'm happy about it. I'm happy.
Probably took me 30 hours to get, which was standing in a swamp, chest high, on a hot day, waiting for a bat to hopefully fly directly towards me at the right time for me to have it in focus. And I might have taken 6,000, 7,000 images.
It seems that to the untrained eye, an AI-generated image is convincing. But should we value images that can be created in 5 minutes? Or should we appreciate the effort wildlife photographers put into capturing the perfect shot? And what have the public made of our paintings?
Now we're on to our portrait category, and you may notice the handsome face that is in these portraits. But this one was also quite close, with only 43% of people correctly identifying the AI artwork, which is... So 57% of you got it incorrect and thought one of the human artworks was actually done by AI.
Frida's portrait, conceptualized and painted by AI, did not obviously stand out from the other artworks.
That 57% of people were fooled, I think is a great result. It shows that the robot has a lot of promise and can be used for really special things.
I saw people voting for my own painting, and I've been painting for 30 years, so it was really interesting to see that people confused my work with a robot.
That totally surprised me. I thought they would easily pick it.
People seem to enjoy looking at it. They saw that it was valid and interesting. It enriched their time. And I think that's what's really cool about using an AI to help make art, is that you've made art, and art is a benefit.
In my small experiment, AI has blurred the lines between human and machine, between brushstrokes and pixels. It seems AI can be artistically creative. But does that mean we should fear it?
I think that things like this where people can't tell the difference is important because people will ask questions.
It's really important that we look at AI art carefully, think about how artists are using it as a tool, look at how it's ending up in artworks and how it's moving into, I guess, the mainstream art space.
There's no doubt that now that AI is on the scene, art will never be the same. It's possibly the fastest moving technology of our lifetime, and we're only just at the beginning.
And it's not just art. Generative AI is shaking up everything we know. Daily life is rapidly starting to feel like science fiction. So where do those who are actively working in AI see it heading?
The future is already here. With models like GPT-4, you can go and talk to this piece of machinery and have it respond at beyond Einstein levels across a range of different fields.
Suddenly, neural nets have become better than most people at most of the cognitive tasks we're giving it, to the point where it's like passing bar exams and passing medical exams.
If we look at the progress of humanity for the last few hundred years, we've had the agricultural or agrarian revolution, the industrial revolution, the information revolution with the internet. They're all going to be just small blips on the chart. Right now, we're in this almost vertical leap or rocket ship that seems to have no end in sight. I can't predict what that looks like, but right now, we're in the middle of something extraordinary, and it's going to make everything else just look like a flat line as we head up to the stars.
I am really excited about what the world that my daughter is going to grow up into might look like. She may be able to flourish as a human being in a way that no one's ever been able to before. But some part of me is really also uncomfortable. We don't know where this is going, and where it's going may not be great.
Whether you see AI as a savior or as the enemy, one thing is clear. AI is here to stay, and we need to find a way to work with it.